Hi, welcome to The Truth of Tal Isaac. I'm Tal.
I'm Isaac.
Episode number 133 coming at you today. For a slow time of the year, it's actually a big episode. Lots to talk about.
Lots of little things, which
Lots of
amounts
little
to a
things.
big episode.
Exactly. NBA championship is done. NHL championship, Stanley Cup, done. Lots of Pistons stuff. First day of NBA free agency. A couple of NHL tidbits.
Canada
UFC,
Day.
Canada Day.
It's a big episode.
Yeah, follow up. Bag pizza. Lots to talk about.
Yeah, I'll start with something that's important that we talk about.
Sure.
Before we get into serious topics. Actually, this is pretty serious. Matt Wisdom's birthday. Happy birthday,
Hey,
Wiz.
Wiz. Thank you for your support.
So I wrote down feeding families, and you thanked my buddy for his support. You can just do however long you want about Wiz and Bauer's obsession with you.
So
I don't
here's
know.
the thing. It's important that the next generation, like Youngblood's friends, look up to and respect some of the old folks and recognize that we are wise. And they are wise for recognizing our wisdom and how we contribute to society and do charitable work and serve on boards, but also dress kind of fly.
Yeah. So
Anyway, shout out. We're going to have a party with Wiz and Bauer and some of those guys. And we're just going to, I'll take off my old wise hat and maybe put on my silly dancing hat.
Okay.
And we'll have a good time.
So talk about feeding families and specifically your outfits and their thoughts on it.
I don't dress in the traditional, hey, grown up, conservative, black suit, gray suit, blue suit. I've got a lot of colorful jackets. Some of you've seen on the show. I don't wear like just boring old guy shoes. I wear Jordans. I've got
Okay, we get it. You're cool. Let's get this.
Custom Lion stuff. Yeah. And so Wiz's line, and Ethan has kind of taken up, is look at Tal out there just doing good things for the community, and his outfit be feeding families all over the place. And that's the line.
So feeding families is like, if you have a really good outfit, like that feeds families, but it can be like, right?
Do a good thing. Chamber board.
A Lions Texans Super Bowl, that would feed families.
A Lions text from the
Texans. Lions Texans Super Bowl.
Oh, Lions Texans Super
right?
Bowl.
Like
Yeah,
just like
just cool stuff, good stuff.
Yeah, so like a Celtics championship, that did not
Nope,
feed families.
people are hungry.
So it's a subjective term used for outfits. So my buddies have just like every time, any moment they can, just like that's feeding three families and like another family there. You can't put a number on it usually. So I just had to talk about that because they're gonna get so fired up.
Thanks, fellas.
So
Appreciate the
that's all I
support.
got there. Okay, what else you have?
Hashtag Team Tal Nation.
Yep.
The bag pizza clip that Isaac posted on our Instagram. If you don't follow us on Instagram, you just should. But the bag pizza quote was about 60 seconds of top end, unedited, unplanned fun.
Yeah, bag pizza, really good stuff. Just keep it up. It's really great.
It's kind of a trend. We should maybe make a food truck and sell bag pizza as one of the options.
Yeah, let's just
paninis, espressos, bag pizza.
With all the free time we have, let's start that.
Lots of free time. Good. UFC is such a big deal. We were talking about that the other day. Actually, with the Miskus boys, we actually got our butts kicked on the tennis court from the Miskus boys. Good match, but they beat us. And that's what Todd and I were saying, that when we were younger, like my demographic, fighting was a big deal, right? You got to see the end of Muhammad Ali. You got to see, Tyson in his glory. People paid attention to that. Marvin Hagler, Tommy Hearns. Now, virtually nobody cares about boxing. It's all seemed to be fixed in that fake boxing with like Jake Paul and that dumb stuff.
Yeah.
So people just pay attention to UFC, and it's the show.
It's a show. So I usually don't have the fellas over for UFC this Saturday. This past Saturday.
It's Canada Day today.
Happy Canada Day. So it was just a really big card, and we're into it. So we're like, let's just do it. And we knew that there was going to be some noise. Just our guys were fighting. We had some units down. Like, this is a big deal for us. And I'm like, it's gonna be loud, and it's gonna be loud late or early, if you will, because these fights go late or early. So I had them sign. I did up a contract. It's legally binding on a sticky note. It's basically saying we're gonna make a lot of noise. Are you like this? Is you're signing off?
So Danielle and I signed off on it.
So I think the sticky note still. It should be somewhere unless it's been thrown out.
It
Very
should be
possible.
documented. Actually, it should be in this desk of memories.
Yeah. So it's probably is thrown out regardless. UFC was a great event. We had the people over. He watched a couple fights fully.
Yeah. And I needed to go upstairs and take a little nap in order to make the Pereira fight. I just didn't get up for the Pereira fight.
But like July 27th, there's a big card in London, England. But
whoa,
yeah, it's a big England card. It's a huge deal.
I'm in Scotland.
You should go. We'll look into this later. I will meet you there.
Okay.
So like there's just UFC. It's great. We love it. Sorry, keep going. There's a little mania there.
Okay. So it's July 1st. So this is the calm before the storm. So this is, we've got a lot of wives and girlfriends who are listeners to the show. My suggestion is the next month they should like make plans to go shopping and do nice quality things, because in about 6 weeks it's go time. College football, NFL's gonna be ramping up. A few weeks after that, NHL, then NBA. So this is just this in-between time. You know what's fun this year? The Olympics. They're always a little bit fun to watch.
I'm not an Olympics guy, and I'll bring this up because this comes up with my buddies. People think I should be an Olympics guy because I'm a sports guy, which I get. I'm just not an Olympics guy. It's hard for me to get into sports I don't really follow and guys I don't really know. Obviously, I'll root for the flags, right?
Yep.
But I'm not an Olympics guy. Phelps or Bolt, who is your GOAT?
Ooh, that's a good question.
This was asked to me, and I said I'll defer.
I enjoyed Bolt more because he was just dynamic and amazing. But Phelps is the GOAT just because he had so many different legs that he won. He relay and individual stuff and different strokes. He was the GOAT.
Okay, good answer. That's good stuff. What else do you have? Anything else? Or?
A little bit.
Okay.
We've got a road trip planned.
Yeah, in the air.
Yeah, it's nope.
Well,
we've booked the flights.
Yeah, so it's in the air. We're not on the road.
No, correct. Yeah, it's a
air trip.
Air trip.
Do you want to tell people? Or do you want to wait until it happens? It's not for many months.
No, we're just planting that seed out there. Say road trips are cool. You should plan one. We've got one planned. Tune in to later episodes to get details.
Okay. I don't think that'll draw.
I have 5 words on the Detroit Tigers. Tigers make me so sad.
Okay. Next topic.
NHL free agency. We'll talk about that afterwards.
Okay. I don't have any notes on free agency
I got a couple
for the NHL. Okay. So what are we starting with? We're starting with the Celtics.
I think we got to talk about the Celtics.
Okay.
Uncle
so
Phil.
here's the deal. This is our show.
All the racist
I haven't told you this
people in
bit.
Boston.
I haven't told you this bit. This is our podcast, right?
Yeah.
So we can choose what we talk about. So we're choosing to only talk about Boston for maybe 3 minutes.
That's about it.
Okay. So I'll let you go you can start this off.
Okay. They're a really good team. They were fortunate. They avoided Jimmy, Giannis, Embiid to make it historically easy.
All the Knicks, they avoided a lot of people.
Easy run. Listen, good depth. Porzingis was injured enough that that Boston showed some resilience with Horford, but he still played in the first round. And wait a second, did he play in the first round or did he miss it? He might have played a little bit in the first round, but he was good enough in the finals to kind of say, okay, Dallas, you're done.
He played for some of the first round. That was the Miami, but that went 5. So I think he missed like games 3, 4, 5 or something like that.
Yeah, listen, the MVP ended up being Brown. Could have been Tatum. Could have even been Holiday.
Okay.
If Luka played a little bit of D and shot a little better from 3-point range, it could have been him. But whatever, Boston won. Good luck.
Yeah, whatever.
Something bad is going to happen to them in the next 300 days.
To who? The Celtics? Or
yeah, somebody in the Celtics. Actually, I read today the team is now for sale.
Yeah. So
they'll probably be bought by some Saudi prince. Okay. And it's just
we're going to stop.
Bad.
We're going to stop the segment there.
Yeah.
So Boston, they're better in every facet of the game.
You heard it here first.
They're better in every facet of the game. They're really well constructed. Like Brad Stevens' masterclass, we get it. Nothing really new we can say here. I agree. Brown deserved MVP. No bias. I actually think he did deserve it. I would have had Tatum 2 and then Holiday 3.
Yeah, we don't like Tatum. I don't like Tatum.
Speaking of Tatum, the imitation stuff where he tried to do a Garnett bid and then he imitated Curry and then he did the Kobe picture.
Can't he get his own material?
Yeah, you just got to have somebody.
Like hire us.
Yeah.
We'll get you some material.
Get a communications advisor.
Realistically, we probably don't cost a lot. A couple of sports jackets and a couple of tickets. That's all you need.
That's it. Role players disappeared for Dallas.
Maybe some chocolate too.
Role players disappeared for Dallas.
They did.
Kyrie, the stuff like just terrible in Boston.
Yeah, Kyrie became a role player rather than a star.
Like
that stuff about one of the best backcourts of all time, that disappeared pretty quickly.
He had one really good game 3.
Yeah.
And then
nothing. He was a role player.
And then he was terrible for the other games, especially the Boston games, like below 30% from 3, 40% from the field throughout the series. Just like really, really awful. It was clear that the Boston crowd was in his head. So kudos to the Boston crowd. But they're probably all bad people.
True.
Bias aside, it was a pretty boring series. Kind of the old NBA world has said, like, even like Celtics fans, I'm sure, would be like, great, boring series, kind of a boring playoffs. Nothing crazy, which is fine.
Listen, when the Tigers won in 1984 against San Diego, it was not a very good series. But guess what?
Interesting.
They're champs. And I remember people saying that in Sports Illustrated in 1984, that it was kind of a lackluster series, if you look that up.
That's fair.
They're champs.
It's a little similar to last year. Last year, right, the Nuggets Heat series, no one really wanted that except a few. Jimmy Butler radicalists,
Yeah.
which I consider myself that, right? The
And a bunch
Luka
of
thing.
European dudes.
So you talked about Luka. It was either between games 2 and 3 and 3 and 4. You can correct me. Do you remember which? When everyone online was just like crapping on Luka like crazy.
Between 2 and 3.
Okay, so it was between 2 and 3. They acted like he was losing them games and like holding back Dallas. So two things can be true. I put this together really quickly when this was happening. One, Luka's defensive effort, conditioning, and constant whining will make it hard for him to win a championship. Those are the big 3 issues with him right now. Do you agree?
I agree.
Okay. Another thing.
And I think NBA fans agree. Even Luka fans.
Yep. So 2 things. That's the first thing. And then the other thing that can be true is Luka's a top 3 player in the league, and Dallas is a lottery team, and maybe a lower end lottery team without Luka on that roster. You take him off.
Completely agree.
So people need to understand there's some issues that he needs to work on, but without him, Dallas is poverty, right? Like Derek Jones Jr. and PJ Washington starting in the finals, and then Kyrie who's shooting 20% from 3. It's just I just need to say that about Luka. There's some issues.
And centers that really don't have any offensive game.
Yeah, and I think Lively's great, but yeah, he's a rookie, and Gafford doesn't have any offensive game.
Yeah.
So that's all I have on the finals. What else do you have? Anything?
No.
Okay, now what would you like to talk about?
I think we should talk about the Detroit Pistons.
Oof. Okay.
Okay, let's say a couple of good things. Firing Monty was a good sign. Hiring the Alaskan Assassin was a good sign. Right? Because it showed, okay, Monty doesn't want to develop young players, and like it or not, the Pistons are rebuilding again. They have Cade and a bunch of question marks. So basically, Monty didn't want to develop young guys, so they fired him. What day is today? It's Monday. Yesterday, the announcement was about hiring Bickerstaff. I don't really like that. Who's the guy, European dude, who they were going to hire, assistant?
For who? What team? Well, there's Brago, there's Sweeney, there's Quinn.
Brago was the guy who I read about. It sounded like he was the next guy.
People liked him.
I don't know what happened there. Evidently, they've hired somebody who wants to be here, who wants some bag, and
no, not want some bag, just like wants a bag or caught a bag.
Yeah, caught a bag. Okay, yeah. Perhaps didn't use that.
Perhaps
the best of the.
Perhaps not.
Urban Paul.
Stop.
No, Urban Paul.
Okay.
Just talking about my friend Urban from Toronto. Yo, what's up, Urban?
Okay, Pistons.
Did they pick? We have to talk about the draft. We have to talk about asset management.
Okay, first we're talking about the suits, and then we're talking about asset management and players.
Okay.
So the suits. Respect to Monty. I still like. He's a good dude. I think he's a really good guy.
I guess he is a good fella.
Everyone says he's a good fella. Not the best coach for this team, but I'm wishing him the best.
Did somebody bash him in his head? Like,
stop. So that's just unethical.
Hayes?
No, stop.
Seriously.
The Bickerstaff hiring.
Is they livers?
Bickerstaff hiring. Here's the deal. His issues are in the playoffs. Good thing we don't make the playoffs. So we don't have to worry about that, right? Like the Cavs fans are like, why is this 50-year-old Morse getting minutes in the
my
rotation?
biggest weakness to running a marathon is the last 7 miles. Guess what? I'm not running the first 19, so it's okay.
So look, win us 30 games, and then we'll start talking about playoff. You know what I mean? Like
playoffs.
Exactly. So the Bickerstaff, I don't love it. I wanted a young guy to grow with these young.
We're not
team.
getting Spo. We're not getting Pops. We got a guy.
That's fine. So Fred Vinson, I'm sure you've heard this name.
He's the shooting coach.
Okay. He better be the chosen one.
Oh my gosh, he better.
People are acting like we won't talk about what yet. We'll just talk about Fred Vinson.
He's the guy who came up with the triangle offense for the Lakers a long time ago.
Did he actually? Or was that made up?
Winters. Yes,
okay.
I don't remember. Rex or Tex Winters. Look him up, fans.
Fred Vinson better be a savant of shooting and basketball to save this team.
The whole
he's gonna have a busy
room for air.
Let's
say who are Pistons players who can't really shoot?
No,
Ivy, Thompson, Holland, Duran.
Yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot.
Fair amount.
That's like some starters.
That's like 4 of your top 6 guys.
So the draft. We'll talk about Holland here. Ron Holland, right? Ron Holland.
Yeah. What did I call him?
Well, no. Kevin Holland is a UFC guy who I like. Okay, so Ron Holland. He was a borderline 10 to 13 prospect. He was in that range.
Like 10 months ago, he was a top 3.
Yeah.
So he played for G League, and they were like 2-32. The team was terrible. He was bad. Missed a ton of shots. I didn't tune in to watch a lot of that stuff.
No, I didn't.
Athletic dude, right? 6'7", 200 pounds.
I just want to talk. We're going to do the asset management piece now.
Okay.
Do you have a piece on that? Because we like talking about asset management.
Just the Tim Hardaway and 3 second-round picks for Grimes.
Okay, wait. Let's finish. Can we finish Holland and then do Hardaway?
Yeah, I guess we'll talk about the draft and Klingon, right?
Yeah. So Holland, he was a 10 to 13 guy, but the past couple days leading up to the draft, all the headlines were Holland's falling. Holland's falling late teens. He was going late teens in mocks.
And people wanted the big dude from UConn.
Correct. So,
What's
Holland,
his first name?
Donovan.
Donovan.
Right?
Yes, good pull.
Okay. So, here's the deal. Holland was falling. The Pistons wanted him. So, the logical thing is, trade down and you can get him because he's falling. But that doesn't always work if teams don't want to trade up. Guess what?
People wanted to trade up to get Donovan. Not Donovan McNabb, Donovan
Clingan. Just call him Kling Kong. That was his nickname. So the Pistons said no. And we don't know what they were getting offered.
Bad asset management. Maybe they were just getting a second. It wasn't worth anything.
Then take your second and take Holland at 7 or 8 or whatever it would have been, right? Mm-hmm. Do you think Charlotte really wanted to pick Edie at like 9 or 10? No. They wanted Klingan at 5.
Yeah.
And I'm sure they made a respectable offer. Respectable enough for the Pistons suits to say, you know what? We like Holland. He's probably going to be on the board at 10. I don't think he's going to get insulted because we didn't interview him. It's a whole nother piece.
Yeah.
They didn't interview this guy.
They were keeping a secret.
Which I don't love, but whatever. I think that's the new thing now. The secret and the not interviewing guys.
And just listen, the Pistons aren't the only team who did that. There's a bunch of teams who do that.
So Holland, regardless of what you think, I actually think he's an okay prospect. But
I think he's an okay prospect as well. But this clarifies the next 2 years, we are not going to pay a lot of money for Pistons tickets.
Yeah, a few things can be true. We can like Holland as a prospect, but this adds to the poor team building, which is going to be reconstructed, you have to think. And then it adds to the asset management piece, which is just like, we might sound nerdy talking about asset management and trading down. I think it's a fair point.
It's very relevant.
Okay.
And the Pistons have not done a good job with asset management, right? They essentially traded Bogdanovich and Alec Burks for old man Tim Hardaway Jr. and 3 second-round picks.
Good. I don't even think I wrote that down. Yeah, the Bogdanovich and Burks deal is now washed.
Yeah, pretty much
completely off the board now. So I'll let you keep going. What are you have more Pistons stuff?
Yeah, I've got a couple more Pistons things. So they signed Tobias Harris today, 2 years, $54 million, something like that. I don't really like it. I didn't love Tobias Harris. Again, his biggest problem is he comes up small in the playoffs. Not an issue for the Detroit Pistons because they don't make the playoffs.
No worries, Tobias.
So, listen, it's not a bad idea to have Cade play with a stretch 3, stretch 4, just to try and get to show people what happens when Cade plays with guys who can shoot. Because let's be really clear, we are still both on the Cade train, right?
People have asked us.
Cade.
People have asked us about
that
this.
Isn't a debate. Yeah, the people say, is he worth it? He's absolutely worth it. His ceiling is a top 12 player in the league. That's my opinion.
Okay.
Maybe 15, some people say.
You can say, like, All-NBA third team, I think he can make some
All-NBA third team, I'm down with that.
Like, All-Star games.
Yes, but he needs to be able to, get some room to maneuver. His three-point shot needs to get a little bit better. And he needs to be able to pass it to people who can shoot. Appropriate time or not appropriate time to bring up Killian again? No?
Not appropriate.
Not? Okay, pass. No. Skipping on that. So they've got a couple guys who can shoot now. Tim Hardaway Jr., Tobias Harris.
Okay, Tim Hardaway Jr., asset management. Talk about him.
So the Pistons picked up, Dallas wanted to get rid of him because they needed some cap money to sign Klay Thompson. That's a whole other thing. So the Pistons said, hey, we'll take Tim Hardaway Jr. off your hands for 3 second-round picks. Oh, and we're going to give you back Grimes. I would have wanted more for that because Dallas needed to get rid of him, and I would have taken a 2031st.
Oh, for sure. Light protections at 31 first. Yeah. I'm all over those future
especially
assets.
Because Luka by that time is going to be 320 pounds.
Oh, dude,
he's
that's
going to be like smoking cigars, eating porchetta.
Wow.
Anyway, so listen, the Alaskan Assassin has not shown good asset management.
So that's what you're calling the Pistons GM or president or whoever now, Langdon? You're calling him this?
Okay. That's what he was called in the late 80s, early 90s.
Is that long ago?
Maybe early 90s.
Old man Langdon.
Old man Alaskan Assassin.
Look, so the Pistons, it's tough. It's tough. There's some moves here that,
cheap seats, that's me. That means cheap seats, season ticket parking.
Yeah.
We're going to stop by and say hi to Sydney, and then we're going to go.
I don't love the Harris signing, but then I was talking to Jer briefly about it. Shout out Jer. I was talking to him.
Jer.
And he's just like, who else are we going to sign? And I'm like, I don't have an answer for that.
What about Fontecchio? Is he signing or what? I like him.
We have the room to sign him still, obviously. But it was a great question. Who else, right? If you hate the Harris signing, and I don't love it, what else?
Pick up Wiggins from the Warriors because they want to get rid of him.
I don't want old man Andrew. Respectfully, I have no interest in having him on my team.
He's Canadian.
I know he's Canadian, and Warriors said you can't play on the national team because we're trying to get rid of
He
you.
said that, yeah.
It's really disrespectful.
Yeah. Edie's not playing on the national team either. I don't like
No,
that.
no national team. I know you love talking about it. I'm sorry I brought it up, but please don't talk about it. Did you see Shea's interview when he was asked about he drives, Jamal shoots? That's what he said. That's the game plan.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Anyways, it's tough, but we're Pistons fans. They're gonna win more games.
They will win more than 14 games. You heard it here first.
Book it, right? Like lock.
Yeah. Over-under wins is going to be like 17 and a half.
Yeah, and I'll be putting half a unit on the over. Okay, so that's what I got for the Pistons. Do you have anything else before we get too upset?
I think we should talk a little bit about a couple other NBA stuff because there's a fair amount that's happened.
I've got some trade stuff. Yeah,
go nuts.
What trade do you want to start on?
I think we should talk about Murray.
Let's talk about Murray. Go. Yeah, you had some stuff on this. Go ahead.
I like Murray. I liked him a lot in San Antonio, and I just would have thought he would have garnered more. Atlanta maybe just doesn't have trade.
You're watching a lot of Spurs games like 4 years ago?
Yeah, lots of Spurs games. I used to stay up later.
Yeah.
But what did they net for him? Like, not a ton.
So it's 2 firsts, and you described the first. They're lower valued firsts.
Yeah.
Larry Nance, who's on an expiring, who I like more than I should.
Who's a decent role player, right? He can dunk.
He can dunk, that's right. And Dyson Daniels, who I think
Who's
I like.
Decent
I like
young guy, yeah.
more than I should, but I don't think the league likes him very much. And New Orleans clearly doesn't because they just dumped him.
Yeah.
What do you have for New Orleans side of this?
Listen, New Orleans is fun to watch. There's been all sorts of stuff about Brandon Ingram for the last kind of year and a bit.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're going to get rid of him, if they're going to keep him, but thinking about those guys with CJ and Murray and Ingram and Williamson. Jonas Valanciunas is gone, so I don't know who's going to be the 5. I don't know what, are they just going to do Zion? But Zion 5 isn't any good because he's not a good rebounder.
Yeah, they can't start Zion at the 5. They'll do something. They'll get a placeholder 5.
Okay, so they'll get a placeholder 5.
Yeah.
Anyway, interesting. I would have thought they would have got a little bit more. What other trades are out there that's relevant?
So you
Got some signings, like
talk
the
to Hawks about
Klay Thompson thing.
We'll do the signings. Let's Caruso for Giddies. You know, it's big for white people. White on white swap is worth discussing, I think.
Oh, okay, I think it's a terrible. I think Chicago's dumb. I know people like Giddy, but he can't shoot.
I don't think people like Giddy, nor do minors. Look,
No,
the Thunder or the minors.
If you listen, if you're a fan of the show and you live in Chicago and you have a daughter anywhere over the age of 12,
okay, so that crossed the line.
I know it crossed the line, but he's the one who crossed it first.
That's right, he did.
Look, he did it first.
The Thunder instantly improve on the wing. That's what they needed to do. They instantly improve. Talk about asset management. We love talking about this. Chicago turned down 2 firsts. They were lower valued first, but they turned down 2 firsts for Caruso, and now they flip him to Giddy. And Giddy's got some value, and he's good for a rebuilding team. Chicago's not rebuilding right now.
Chicago's in that terrible, hey, maybe we'll make a play and see 9-10 and get beat up on by Miami or something.
Not Miami.
And then even if they make it, they're going to lose.
Fair. So we talk about Caruso, Giddy. We'll talk about Bridges, the Michael Bridges trade, because that was pretty. I have a lot on that.
Yeah, it's a big trade. You're hot on that?
I have a lot on that.
Okay, go ahead.
I don't have the picks. I had it in my notes, and it just took up too much room. Look it up if you want to know. There's a lot of picks. And lots of
4
protections.
firsts and a couple of
Plus.
other swaps.
I think 5 firsts is what it kind of amounts to, and then some swaps. It's on par with what Minnesota gave up for Rudy.
Yeah.
The difference here is I actually think Bridges is good, and I don't think Rudy's that good.
Agreed.
I wrote down.
And this shows that New York over the next 5 years is going to be solid. So those picks are going to be 25, 27.
Mm-hmm. You're right. Look, as a basketball fan, this is great for the league. Just as a fan of ball, and the guy who loves the Knicks.
When you get the Mecca jamming with a good team, that is good for basketball.
And I didn't buy into that past few years, and then now I've actually seen it through TV and actually seen it in New York.
It's a really nice jacket you got.
Thank you. Seen it in New York, talking to Knicks fans. If you're in New York, you're just like, hey, what do you think of Jalen Brunson? Oh, Brunson! They just go nuts. They love him, and it's really cool to see and talk to them about that. The Knicks are going to be really good. They've got great contracts. They're pretty well built.
A bunch of wings who can defend, a.k.a. Boston Celtics.
That's the formula. You need a creator. You need a couple bigs, and that's the issue with New York. They need some versatile bigs.
They have one injured big.
But they've got the athletic wings that can shoot and guard 1 through 4.
They're going to dump Randall?
I wrote down it has to be the next step. I'm super anti-Randall. No. If we start Randall and Harris, I actually don't know what I'm going to do. Seriously.
We're going to pick their 2031 first-round draft pick.
No, I don't even want to talk about Randall.
I bet you it's a possibility. I hate Randall.
I don't like to say I hate people. I hate Boston and I hate Tatum. I actually hate Randall. I really, really hate Randall. He's not good for basketball.
I hate Ohio State too.
I hate Ohio State. Good to free Bridges from the Nets. The Nets just kind of poverty, and they got a lot of assets now. They'll rebuild, and they started that. I wrote this down, and people haven't talked about it. I just wrote down, I hope that the Knicks front office exhausted their resources calling Miami about Jimmy, calling Philly about Embiid, calling Phoenix about Durant, and said, this Godfather offer we can get just about anybody we want.
Yeah, I would think so.
And I get the Villanova thing. I really hope that they called these teams and said, hey, we can offer you this for your guy.
There's so many rumors about Durant, but it hasn't happened yet and probably isn't going to happen at this point.
The Jimmy bias, like taking the Jimmy bias aside, like if you were just told, if you called Pat Riley, old man Pat, and you woke him up, he's probably still got, what are the old phones?
Don't be dissing a rotary phone.
He's got a rotary phone.
But he's got Alonzo next to him who's taking care of him.
Okay. All I'm saying is if you call Pat Riley, I know the Knicks, I don't think the Knicks like Pat Riley, and Pat Riley doesn't like the Knicks, not anymore, right?
They don't like him anymore.
If you called him and said, hey, 5 firsts for Jimmy.
He played for him.
But coach too, right?
Yeah.
Or GM or something. Maybe? I don't know. All I'm saying, Jimmy for 5 firsts in New York, that would have fed families, I would say.
Agreed.
Houston got involved. They did some goofy stuff to try to get Durant, and then Matt Ishbia had tweeted, "We're not trading Durant," which is really funny. Did you see that?
Funny. I did not.
Yeah, Ishbia. This is a brief side. Matt Ishbia, the owner of the Suns, put out a tweet that's like, "We love Kevin Durant. We're not trading him." You just don't see guys do that.
Ishbia's like me owning the team.
It's really weird. Like, put out a press release, dude. I don't know why. You're
a billionaire. Have Isaac next to you. When you say, tweet this, and then you just kind of scrub it a little bit and make it appropriate.
I'm not looking for work. I'm happily employed. I love my job.
Yeah, you could just do a little... Well,
let the record reflect
You could do that remote Tuesday and Friday nights.
Okay, I could do that remote.
You could do that.
But I'm happy.
Even a few hours on Saturday, maybe.
Okay, so I have nothing else on the trades. We've got some free agency stuff.
Yeah, Paul George to the 76ers is the big trade. He was the big guy in the market. It's funny because some super teams are entertaining. Like, I'm starting to enjoy the whole New York super team thing.
Yes. It took you a while to get on board.
It took me a while. But they played so tough in the playoffs. I admire that. Clippers, I'm glad you fell flat on your face. You signed and traded for the wrong dudes. You traded away SGA, Canadian, I'm not sure if you knew that, for about 17 first-round draft picks to get PG. How'd that work out for you? I think you won 3 series total in the 4 years that you had Kawhi, 5 years, Kawhi and PG together, and a bunch of pretty decent role players that somehow couldn't amount to anything. So now you're stuck with Harden, who has really angered his last 3 teams and hasn't played up to his contract for about 5 years.
Just extended 2 years, 7
You're stuck with Kawhi, who's great for 46 games a year and generally farts out in the playoffs. The 2 superstars, or the 2 people that have missed the most games in the playoffs in the last 4 years, Embiid and Kawhi Leonard.
Yeah, totally checks out. Yeah, that's a stat that I buy. Yeah.
Yeah. So
keep
now
going. This is good.
So the Clippers, people are just going to laugh at them, and they're going to get poop soon. And guess what? OKC's going to have first round draft picks.
Yeah,
that are higher.
Yes.
So poo on you, Clippers. You're done. You don't deserve them. PG going to 76ers is big.
Okay, that last point about the picks and who owns the picks. Can you unwrap that one more time? Because that's important to...
Yeah, so what happened is the Clippers decided, okay, we want Kawhi Leonard. So Kawhi said, you need to trade for Paul George.
Well, actually, sorry. You know who he wanted first, right? Widely known.
LeBron?
No, it was Jimmy.
Oh, I did not know.
Kawhi called Jimmy and said, come to LA, and Jimmy said no.
Ooh,
but so that's like, cool. Look that up. Widely known. People don't talk about that because it didn't happen, but sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, we messed up heat culture. So basically... Los Angeles Clippers traded, it might have been 4 first-round picks and 2 pick swaps, plus young, emerging, talented point guard Shai Gilgeous-Alexander to OKC for Paul George. Now, did they have any idea that SGA was going to be a first-team All-NBA guy? They did not. But
future MVP, future Hall of Famer.
Yeah, so they traded a good potential guy away and a bunch of picks. So now, by the end of the picks, right, it's probably 2027, 2028. They're not going to be good because they're way over the cap. They're going to be in second apron. They're going to have a bunch of guys. Harden and Kawhi are just not going to be worth anything in a couple of years. And that's just going to keep the OKC going. And we like the small market teams that are entertaining, make it to the finals. That's fine. I'm tired of seeing LA and Boston in the finals.
I'm not tired of seeing LA in the finals because I only saw him once.
That's true.
So, so about that, LA. Boston, I'm tired. Sorry, I've seen you twice. I'm tired. You talk about Paul George. I have nothing else there. I get Philly going in, the Philly side of this. I totally get it.
Sure.
I like it. I like the fit.
I like it too.
4 years is a long time for an old man who broke his leg. It's a lot of money. It's a long time. But this is the move for Philly. This was the move.
Isaiah Hartenstein to the Thunder, huge.
Love it. Talking about the Thunder. Love watching the Thunder. Love Hartenstein's fit. I think he's going to be good next to Chet.
It's going to be interesting to see. Is he going to finish games with them? I guess it depends on matchups.
It's a lot of money to pay a backup.
Yeah.
So that leads me to believe they might try to do like a Hartenstein-Chet thing, and Chet as a roamer, and then Hartenstein on the 5, similar to Minnesota, but better.
I kind of like that.
I don't know if they'll do that, but again, 3 years, $87 million. It's a lot of money
I'm
for a 6-man.
assuming Chet is going to be able to guard most 4s.
Yeah. Chet's length allows him to guard a lot of 5s too, actually.
Yep.
Like he's able to recover quickly.
Yeah, so he's not guarding Embiid, he's not guarding Jokic. Hardly anybody is anyway, so let's not overthink that.
That's a really good take. So the OKC piece, love it.
What about CP3 to the Spurs? That's kind of interesting.
I saw this. I love it.
Me too.
Oh, I love it.
I think it's great.
Okay, good.
CP3 has shown that he is a winner and he makes teams better. He's done that for his last 3 teams. Now, Golden State was a bit of an odd scenario because he was a bench guy and it's still Curry's team, and Green was ahead of him and Thompson was ahead of him in the pecking order. But now he just gets to be Yoda to Skywalker.
Yeah, really good take there. I didn't think of that. Did you read that?
No, I came up with that on the spot right now.
Say that one more time.
CP3 is Yoda to Wemby being Skywalker. You heard it here first.
Really
That's
good
a good
stuff.
take, actually.
Yeah, it's great.
Somebody else has come up with that on the internet,
I haven't heard
and they've stolen it from me.
Yeah, I haven't heard that.
Yep.
I saw Chris Paul, and like I was with some buddies when I found. I said the first thing I said, I love this. This is great for Victor.
Yep.
Someone who can pass the ball. It's really important for Victor. We talked about that.
Hey, Coach Rob says, hey.
Hey, Coach
Last
Rob.
time yesterday you didn't. He was a little disappointed.
Okay, I'm gonna text him. Clay to Dallas. I'll let you talk about that.
It's an interesting problem for Golden State, right? Because they're way over the cap. They sign guys to a lot of money, and they kind of had to make the tough decision to say, okay, one of our franchise mainstays, the guy's got 4 rings and has been a great soldier for a long time. The rumor is they told him, listen, you're going to come off the bench, and he did not want to come off the bench. So they kind of said, okay, let's find a way to make this transition out. So I think they probably left on okay terms, but that's the NBA. It's a business. I think it helps Dallas a lot. Obviously, they depend on Clay to be able to play a little bit of D because Luka's not a great defender. Kyrie's not a very good defender.
They did lose Derek Jones.
They did lose Derek
And
Jones.
I'm not a huge Jones guy, but he was their like primary.
So I don't know if their starters can defend enough with Luka, Kyrie, Thompson, PJ Washington, and
Lively.
Lively.
The Clay thing, Clay to Dallas, I don't love it as a fit. If you just look at like actual like schemes, Dallas does not run a lot of off-ball screen stuff, running around the perimeter,
Yep.
which is kind of how Clay has made a living. It's a lot of spot-up shooting, and I think Clay has no problem doing that. I'm just saying this is very different. He's going to just be on the perimeter standing line, which might be good for him.
It's probably a decent use of his asset management legs.
He said no to 4 years, $80 million from the Lakers. Is kind of what I've read from a couple sources.
I heard he said no to a couple of teams. Who did he talk to?
Orlando.
Lakers, Orlando, yeah.
I think those were the 3. It was Dallas, Orlando, and the Lakers. Mm-hmm. I'm glad he went to Dallas. I think that's fun. I wanted Orlando to do something. They really didn't.
Yeah, they did. They signed KCP.
Look, 3 years, $66 million KCP. I saw you right there. Look, I don't love it. It's fine. I get it.
I think it's kind of interesting. But you know what? KCP is much better on Denver than he is on Orlando.
That's a good take. And he...
Right, like Paulo is not that great an assist guy.
He's actually a pretty good assist guy.
Yeah, but he's okay. But I don't think he's going to draw that many people that KCP is going to have so many wide open shots. So his stats are going to drop down in Orlando because they really don't have guards who can break people down off the dribble and set up guys.
Not a lot of guards.
Forwards who can do that.
That's right. Valanciunas, 3 years, $30 million to Washington. Great stuff, Washington.
I don't get it.
We can't really make fun of bad teams because we're not the best, but...
They're getting all the centers now. We used to get all the centers.
I don't know. Valanciunas to Washington. At least it's not Detroit. The Thunder extend some of their bench guys. We talked about that earlier. I like that. I have nothing else on the actual like big signings. That's all. I think we covered all those.
Trades are interesting, and I like the rumors leading up to trades. Like the PG stuff was talked about for a long time, and then it happened. That's kind of cool.
What about LeBron James taking a pay cut for the right player? Thoughts?
I think he took a Post-it note and wrote down a couple names, and if his buddies got to comment that, then he was going to take $1 million less than the max. Now he's like, since Paul George is gone, I think you're just going to pay me the max.
Okay.
And the whole Bronny LeBron stuff, I'm tired of that.
So I'm gonna spin this.
You're going to spin it in a positive light?
Yep. I've thought about it. Go
Okay,
ahead.
spin doctor. Go
And
ahead.
I think I can all zag as you zig here. Look.
Okay.
Put your LeBron bias aside. Father playing with son in the NBA is awesome.
I agree. Ken Griffey Jr., Ken Griffey Sr. That was cool.
Me and you, Monday night basketball, Thursday night basketball. Pretty much the same thing.
Yeah, and Isaac will say to me, because, again, my moves are a little limited these days. Kind of 17.
You got a bag.
17-foot shot, and I can make some odd, funny little shots in the lane now.
Okay.
My knees are getting a little bit better.
Okay, so what are you going to say?
I was cooking Connor a couple weeks ago.
Okay, don't disrespect Connor.
I love Connor, but I was cooking him a little bit.
What were you saying? What do I say to you when we play?
Just tell me to get in the right spot.
Yeah, get in your spot, I'll get you the rock.
Yeah.
So put your LeBron by side. Father son playing together, it's awesome. We do it, so I know how these two will feel as we do it. Pretty much on as big a stage. Massey,
Just about
Monday night.
Nasty Monday nights or the jail on Thursday nights. The actual jail.
Yep, we're not going to talk about that.
That's legal what we're doing.
Dude, so when you say that, it makes me think it's not legal, right?
It is.
Okay.
Evans is the man.
Yeah, yes. So LeBron playing with his kid, the pictures of him with the cat in the Cavs facility with like a little guy, and it's like they're on the same team now. I actually buy that. I think it's awesome. I think it's really cool.
Duke's gonna play with Tatum.
I'm not
Tatum gonna play with his son who's named after a poop.
Stop. We're trying to do a nice thing about the Bronny thing.
All right,
here.
I'll stop talking for a second.
So I'm glad they're going to be playing together. I think that's really cool. Father son, it's cool. Okay, it's like us, but they went about it the wrong way.
They did.
Note, I don't know what the right way is. I don't know how you go about saying, don't draft my kid, or if you do, he's going to go play overseas because I want him. I don't know how you do that without doing that. It's a shame that no team picked him in the 50s or the 40s. With this week of class, you pick him, and I don't care if it's unethical, and I don't
you get
care.
some trade value. You want Bronny? Great, give me 2 seconds.
You wait for a plane to go, oh, really? You really want Bronny? We like Austin Reeves, right? Just make them do something. Make them give you future unprotected picks. Make them do something.
Especially a team in the Eastern Conference that you're not going to see very much.
The Pistons.
Yeah.
I think the Pistons were afraid of just kind of like cutting ties with the Lakers and putting their name out there in such a... Right? If the Pistons drafted Bronny, it would be a huge deal. Not even Pistons. Washington. Hornets. Whatever.
Yeah.
Draft Bronny. Put the Lakers at gunpoint.
Cleveland could have.
The Cleveland thing is different because there's actual ties there with LeBron, obviously. The family piece, it's cool. I love it. I don't love the way they did it, but I can put that aside and say it's awesome. That's my take. That's all I got on the Bronny bit. What else?
Then
Okay.
talk a little bit about hockey.
Did we talk about Connect going to 17 with Lakers or no?
I'm sad.
I wrote down it seems scripted, which is my way of coping.
Can you explain to me why players who have NBA quality shooting don't get drafted?
Well, no. So what you're saying, they lack the shooting is what you're saying?
Well, the people that lack shooting get drafted, and hopefully you get a shooting coach to teach them how to shoot. But when you know somebody like can shoot, just draft him.
Because he's 23.7 years old. I don't care.
What? He's still going to play for a decade. Most of these guys are only 2 or 3 years in the league anyway.
Probably not that many. I think it's a little more. But I agree with you. The age thing I care to at a certain point. But when you're the Pistons and you need shooting and you need movement and all your guys are in their early 20s, I think it's okay to draft a 23-year-old rookie.
It's not a running back that has a limited shelf life because he was beat on in college.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? Like a 25-year-old running back.
Like especially Dalton played his first couple of years when Idaho State teaches college, so wasn't playing against tough competition.
I love Dalton. Like that's our guy now.
We saw him play, and he's a good player, and
he has aura. Doesn't he have aura?
He's got the aura about him.
Do you know that phrase or no?
No.
I'll teach you that later. Okay. It's just like it's a positive thing.
Okay.
I don't like him going to Lakers, but I'm still rooting for him. I really like him. He's a good dude. He's got good friends. Minnesota gets Dillingham. That's interesting.
Yeah.
It's a weak draft, but
that was a good move up. Yeah, that was cool.
So that's all I got on the draft there.
That's it.
We'll
see what happens for the next couple of days.
I'll just talk about hockey.
We'll talk about hockey just for a couple minutes. So here's the deal. It's a week after. Listen, anytime that we can be entertained in June and even into July almost for hockey is great, right? So what happened is the Oilers went on a run and all of Canada got behind them. You know what I compared it to when the Raptors made their run in 2019? everybody was cheering for Edmonton, which is good.
I think it's a little different because Toronto is the only Canadian team in the NBA.
Right, but a Canadian team hasn't won the Stanley Cup for,
I'm well aware.
30 years or
Yes,
something?
I see the Instagram posts.
Yes. And so Connor McDavid's the man, but Florida, listen, solid, deep team. Are they a little chippy, a little dirty? Yeah, but they played great. Reinhardt played good. Barkov played good. Bobrovsky was awesome for the whole run. I think we need to give a shout out to team coach Emilio and their passion for the Oilers.
Yeah, I'll let you keep going.
That is pretty cool. So Coach Emilio's are our family. They are
Why do you say it like that?
people.
Our family.
Just because.
And uncle and cousins.
Yeah, and uncle and cousins.
Actually family. Not like...
actual family.
Yeah, that's
yeah, I mean, there's
important.
lots, like Braden and Blake are essentially family, but we have different last names and the genetics probably don't match up as much. But shout out to team coach Emilio and their passion. Sports should be about passion and having fun and doing cool things. And they did that. So good for them.
So again,
I compared
no
it
one knows what that means. It's really
listen,
obscure.
they went to see some games and they were up late watching stuff and they did lots of fun things on Erie Street.
It's good context
and
you've
just
provided.
Really, really cool, enjoying the memories and enjoying the experiences. I compared it to us in the Lions, 5 months ago. Good stuff.
Yeah, lots to cover there. You just talked about McDavid. He was invisible in Game 6 and 7. As a guy who knows nothing about hockey, he was invisible.
Yeah, Miami seemed to make the ice real small. I don't know how
unfortunately,
they did
Miami
that.
doesn't have a hockey team, so there's that.
Sorry, Florida.
Yeah. Pointless in 4 out of 7 games, McDavid was.
Yeah.
But still won the MVP, which I get. I think he was deserving of, from my limited understanding.
Yep.
But it's tough to go pointless in 6 and 7. Watch most of the games intently, very much casual. I know nothing. I'm not going to act like I know things. Like you just read off 5 names that you don't even know their first names, probably.
I know most of them.
Okay, what's the goalie's first name?
Sam.
It's definitely not Sam. His last name is Bobrovsky.
I don't know.
Right?
Yvonne?
That's closer, probably.
That's really closer.
I watched most of these games. It was entertaining. It's not my sport of choice, but it's a sport.
It's my fault because I didn't put him in hockey.
Yeah, but it's worked out. I liked all the other sports.
It's fine. Realistically, the 6 a.m. practices with coaches and players and families just going... Listen, everybody who plays hockey is going to agree with this take. When you go to hockey and you're not a hockey parent and you realize, did everybody go on an acid trip as they walked into the arena?
I don't think we can talk about acid.
People are yelling and screaming at these 7 and 8 year old kids and yelling and screaming at the coaches. And you do see a few parents that are like, "Ooh, Tal, you might want to chill out there a little bit. He's 7. There's just too much of that in hockey." And listen, you had some intense parents for soccer and football especially.
I wouldn't say intensity is the issue. I would say
perspective.
Kind of. Like, I play football. There's some psychos.
There's some pretty intense
psychos.
Yes.
And it was great.
Yeah, it was fun.
But I think it's different. I don't think it's that. I think it's just
Am I allowed to talk about hockey culture or no?
No, not at all. See,
okay, I'm just
not that we have many folks of hockey culture, but it's not. No, there's.
Listen, fans, you're gonna agree with me. You can private message me and say I'm right.
Okay. Private message is good.
Yeah,
really good. What else do you have to say? Godfather 1 or Godfather 2?
Ooh, such a good question. I might actually go for 2.
So I'd probably say 1.
But they're both so good. I can't even.
My take is, whatever one I'm watching, I prefer. I'm currently watching 1.
Actually, that's a good take.
So whoever has, it's like when you're watching March Madness games, whoever has the ball,
whoever has the ball, you're shooting for. Especially if you don't have any vested interest.
Whatever one's on, right? Godfather 1's on. That's my favorite. A couple days. Godfather
I was just
2.
watching a clip of that. Santino or Sonny when he got killed.
Spoiler, dude.
Spoiler alert. 1972 Best Picture. Is it 72?
Yeah, it was 72.
Okay.
Really good job there.
It's good. But then when you see Don Corleone when he was a young guy, De Niro, that's good takes.
Not really used
awesome.
to takes, but yeah, De Niro's awesome. Godfather 2's great. See, now I'm thinking about it. I'm gonna watch Godfather 2. I'm gonna like it more. That's how it goes.
Yep.
Okay. Anything else? I'm done.
Wings signed Patrick Kane, which is nice. Cam Talbot and a couple of depth guys. I like the Wings to make a run now. Because it's time for us to have some hockey playoffs.
Yeah, I'm not
I know, just be fun.
No, I'm not tuned into hockey playoffs right now. Come October or November, I'm actually gonna follow the Wings
when they get to be good.
And we followed them last year, and it was great.
We did,
and we sometimes
we got a couple of tickets, and it was entertaining.
And one time, we actually put a pizza in a bag, and went to the Wings game and ate it out of the bag.
Some people put like a bag and they slide an octopus in there to throw it on the ice. We slide in pizza to eat it.
Yep. then it's kind of cold, and then it kind of gets room temperature-y, and it's still
it was still
cold.
good.
It's good pizza. Okay, I have nothing else.
That's it. Okay, fans, thanks for the support. Feeding families all over the place.